Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we're going to be continuing with another episode of our KvK updates where we look at how each of the KvKs are going across all of the seasons. So a couple things to note, as always to be very important, is we're always going to be looking at KvKs from the most recent to the oldest, or I guess earliest is probably the easiest way to say it. So we'll start with ST1, which is the S2++ or T1 season, most recent. Then we have Bellerin season, or SB. This is S2+, right, for the OGs out there. And then we have Season 2, KvK's, right? So we're going to go in that order, and basically I'll just kind of go bottom up or from earliest to oldest if it ends up working out that way for each. As always, if there's any information that you'd like to update me on when it comes to matchups or any other kind of context, please feel free. I love hearing that. You can either let me know by posting a comment on the video. You can message me on Discord if you'd like. An easy way for that is you can, if you're on the official Call of Dragons Discord, you can find me on the sidebar here. Just feel free to, send me a message. No worries. If you join our Discord, where a link to that's in the pinned comment description, you can find me here, Mr. Kingdom Builder at the top. Otherwise, if you want to message me in-game, keep in mind that they did do some recent changes, so you have to be City Hall level 7 in order to send DMs or to interact with people in DMs, but for some reason it's not working for me right now. So the best thing I typically advise people is to message me on my main account. Easiest way to do that and to find me is you go to your settings, you go here to other, go where it says search lords, just type in my name, just like this, and this is usually going to be me. This is my power right now. This is the alliance I'm in. But if you always want to be sure in case I change alliances, just keep in mind that some of these numbers that are like 0 or really low will probably be pretty consistent for a while. So again, if you're just looking for some unique identifiers to kind of pick me out of the crowd, those are some ways to do it. As always, if you enjoy this content, make sure you because that helps get this out to that much more. Okay, let's go ahead and get right into it. So as always, we're going to start with ST1-1. So now, for this one, remember, this is the BDO, RKO, RVO, POTC going up against MILF, COC, DK, and INWA, at least from what we had initially. Now, it's pretty much, at this point in time, I would argue over, right? It's RKO and BDO has pretty much taken over. You could see BDO has Dragon, and the others have been pushed out at this time. I think some of the action is kind of going on over here where you have COC. I don't know if this is MILF. No. I don't know if that's them. Oh, yeah. So MILF's over here. There was a little bit of fighting. I don't know if they're building anymore, but I know there was a little bit of like something that was going on here. I don't know if there's any continued action. There was a bit from what I saw a little earlier, but it looks like it's kind of slowing down. But yeah, that's pretty much where they're at currently. Let's go ahead and take a look at ST1-2. Now, ST1-2 is, again, kind of, I don't want to say they're necessarily nearing the end of their seasons, but it is kind of slowly coming to that point. I can kind of give you an example, too, as well here near the end. But if we go over to Final Zone, which in this case is Atherin, because the T1 season map is the original S1 map just modified, we have... again, this was kind of like a weird three-way, right, where it was like free-to-play versus ANCS, ANCL, then there was A-C or AC, and then D-C, so AC, and then DC, and then there was Blog, BLG2, but now you can see here, at the moment, that PTW, free-to-play, SLR, AC, I think DC's in the mix too as well. We're basically ANCS and ANCL near the end were mainly going up. So it was like ANCL, ANCS, and Blog that were going up against AC, DC, free-to-play, SLR, and PTW. And you can see they're basically the winners at this point. I think ANCS and ANCL and Blog, I know they were originally down here on this side, but I feel like they've probably, Blog's been pushed out. And then I think ANCS over here, ANCL over here. You can see free-to-plays over here. They're removing some territory too as well. I don't know how much if they're pushing up the, okay, so it's probably here. I don't know if they have any action that's happening right there at the moment, but you can kind of see this is where they've been pushed back to, right? So the season, really, as far as PvP-wise, is pretty much already over. Okay, let's go ahead and get to ST1-3. So ST1-3, this was a GNJA, GNJB, DAU, FGHT, Gray, versus FSK, FSK2, Trey, VP22, right? Kyle and team over with FSK. And then we had a number. You can see them having Dragon at the moment. You can see TRE is in that mix. VP22 is in that mix. And I think FSK2 is down here. Okay, good. So I'm not totally crazy. And then I think it's up here in FSK. Yeah, so still VP22. So you can see those that way. You see a little bit of some fighting kind of happening over here, right, with GNJA. I don't know if they're just, again, kind of like, cleaning up a little bit as far as how that goes. Like I said, right, it's GNJA right now, VP22, right? So they're lining up a bit. But as far as them being pushed out of Zone 3, right, that's kind of where they're at. You see FOE, FSK. I don't know really what's happening over here, if this is just like a little thing that's happening or what exactly. Okay, they're running back. Oh, they're coming over here to assist. Oh, this is a long run. Damn, where they? Oh, he's going all the way back. Okay. I was like, what is happening? But yeah, for the most part, it is pretty much over. The majority of the fighting in Final Zone has finished. Okay, let's go over to ST1-4. So ST1-4, this is pretty much still an ongoing fight. Right, this is, shout out to our boy Blink, our boy ATL Gaz. Who's over here? Northern Light. Still waiting for Northern and/or Southern to be kind enough to grace me with an interview. I'm going to keep mentioning it, but that's only because I do it from a place of love. And with that in mind, this is, I think, for the most part, as far as the first 9 T1 seasons. If you remember, there's usually about 9 to 10 KvK's that is in a large pool. This is originally from the 1 through 90 kingdoms that have pretty much carried over from season to season, starting, I think, with one. It was either with 1+ or 2. I want to say it was probably 2. And they have just been kind of the large pool. It's why you usually see when I do some of those videos that cover, and I'll do like a big stat breakdown for those, 70 or 80 kingdoms. It's just because it's the largest pool right now that has that many kingdoms in it. And obviously, if they end up getting more, I'd love to do those types of things for other large pools as well, prior to them getting divvied up into their KvK pools or into their KvK selections. And so right now, ST1-4, very similarly to last season, where we had where it was TFS and Noir that were fighting and going against each other in 2+, right? They were the longest lasting KvK. It very much is the case this season as well in T1, where ST1-4, comprised of TFS, EIS, BXS, EXG, EXL, EXXL, LSK, etc., right? They're still very much fighting, right? The majority of the primary, so there's like 3 main choke points essentially, is what you're dealing with, right? You have the bridge choke. That's right here, kind of going back and forth. You have the T-choke that we so aptly name here in the T1 season, right? This is the one where you see a lot of fighting that's been going on in a number of the T1 season KvK's. And then you also have the level 4 Spire choke that is up here, right? And that's the one where we ended up doing that TFS comms listen in, right? That they've been kind of vying for. They've consistently held, I believe, the Spire thus far, as it is still in their control. But those are kind of like the 3 main chokes to kind of get in and out of where you need. Right, so you have one here, you got one here, and then you have one here at the bridge. Even though BXS and EIS at the moment do have Dragon, right? And I think this is should be mentioned as well, at least in some degree, is that on these 2 positions, on the level 4 Spire and here, right, the BXS EIS side has mainly been playing defense there. They were initially, as far as their faction or union was getting pushed on the southern side. You could see that they've regained a decent amount of that territory as they ended up coming down to assist because LSK was initially getting pushed. So they came down to assist, and then TFS kind of, I would imagine, followed suit, and then they came down to assist as well. So the thing is, though, is that even though TFS has made some ground up, it's not as though either side has really made a large, overwhelming amount of coverage, right? Which I think is what makes, to a degree, this KvK very kind of fascinating to watch because they're still going hard, right? They had a really nice fight that was happening earlier here on the bridge. They were gathering here around the T-choke earlier today too as well, but I don't know if really any action happened there, and I'm not sure if any additional action has happened up here at the level 4 Spire either. So. But again, I would imagine they'll probably keep fighting here and there. I'm going to make a video later on this because I don't want to dive too deep into it. But yeah, as far as if you're still looking for some action, right, that's what's happening there. ST1-5. Let's go in to this one. So this is pretty much this is 69DS versus, and 69IS versus pretty much everyone else at that point, right? So this was like 42TC, TC42, EP77, FX77, HZ, CK1, UDF, I believe were in that mix, and I should say and or up to all of them were in that mix, to be a little bit more specific, but they've been pushed out, right? So 69DS and IS were eventually pushed out, and you can see here that, or excuse me, I thought they were pushed out. Never mind. There are actually still fighting. Excuse me. Geez, never mind. I was spoke a little too early there. And so let me see where they're fighting this. So they're still on this west side. So IS, DS, 42TC. Are they? Where is? Let me see here real quick. Oh, hang on. I think the choke's up here, right? No. Oh, did they already make it past the choke? Am I blind? Oh, no, it's right here. Okay. Yeah, so you can see, right, this is very similarly, right, to the BXS EIS situation there against TFS, right? This is the T-choke we refer to. You can see, again, very well defended or hold up there. And then, right, there is an opportunity to potentially push up here, but they'd have to come across the bridges, and, they're not really pushing in that way. But you could see that 69DS from this has the Dragon. IS is here too as well. So I don't really kind of know what the situation is here. If it's, okay, hey, we're just like, it's over. Are they just kind of calling a ceasefire? The 69 alliances are not planning to push out 42TC and TC42. It doesn't even look like they're really connected anymore at this point either. You don't even see defenses here. So, like, to me, this is more of an indication of, like, okay, yeah, we're just kind of calling a truce at this point, and we're not going to push you out. We're just going to hold Dragon, right? Because usually if they're still fighting, you would typically see more active defenses on multiple fronts, and we're just not really seeing that. So I would imagine some kind of conversation or agreement ended up having to be made. Okay, let's go to ST1-6. So here we have GG13, GG83, Owl, DBB, Hoot going up against ROE, ROA, Arkham, Nuts, and NTS, or I should say NUTS. And you can see here, right, a little engagement with DBB Owl, and they're fighting against Arkham here for a little bit. But really, if we go and kind of look at the majority of everything, we can see here that ROE has the Dragon. I don't know who. Okay, then we have Arkham. And it looks like, let me see, who else do we have? We got NTS, we got NUTS. Let me see, I think it's RUE down there. 2 alliances, 1, 3. Okay, maybe that's Arkham. Okay, good. Yeah, I probably got, ROA. That's what I was looking for. NTS. Oh, ROA's over here. Okay, good. Whew, there we go. So pretty much, right, those are the somewhat winners right now. ROE taking Dragon. And yeah. And then GG83, Owl, DBB, Hoot, right, kind of fighting on the outside. You could see a little bit over there when we initially looked. Okay, and then we got ST1-7. So ST1-7, this is probably a really quick one. This is TM, TA, and NK and W. There was also Bakar and GGKM. But as we know, TM, TA are going to be, or having NK and MW, I believe, merging. They'll be migrating to where TA and TM is, which is in Kingdom 1. So really, for the most part, I don't think this was ever going to be like a serious KvK. It is somewhat unfortunate. I think they did fight a little bit from what we saw. Obviously, prior to Bakar and GGKM fighting, I believe, earlier, leading up to Zone 3, here in Atherin, or I guess you could argue and say Zone 4. But yeah, this was pretty, I think, just set already in stone with kind of how it was going. So hopefully we'll end up seeing TA and TM get a good matchup next season so we can get some more sustained fighting, right, throughout the KvK. Okay, let's look at ST1-8. So ST1-8, this is where we had Dora, HRRN/HRT was going up against FS. And I think this was MAP. Dora and MAP was also involved in that. So it was like Dora, KPT, MAP, I think NE5, and they were going up against FS, TDR, and HRRN/HRT. And you can see here that it is, I mean, for the most part, still going, right? This is where you can see, this is, I think Sneaky's here in this alliance too as well for FS. But you can see once again, right, lining up at the T-choke. And you can see here FS taking Dragon. You have NE5, I think, on this side, and they were like getting pushed from the south. I don't know if there's anything still actively going on up here, but this is where you could see KPT You see NE5. I don't know if they're actively building that or what the plan is there. Okay, I guess they're kind of. And then you also have MAP that's up there, and then we have Dora, right? So they were pushing FS from the top. If you remember, I think we're here about the bridge, and so FS has been able to push a little bit. You can see NE5 has lost some territory. And then, again, right, but Dora is still over here. I think HRRN is the other one where they were, I don't kind of know. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So HRRN, I believe they were with FS TDR, but they're like right next to Dora, and they're not attacking them. So, again, I think I may have commented on this last time. I just don't know if I updated my sheet on this, but you know they're not really doing anything at the moment. So, like I said, I don't know maybe they switch sides. Maybe it's just kind of a ceasefire at this point, and no one's really doing anything else. Right, I don't see any like defenses here, so to speak. I see them here, so maybe it is. So maybe it's just FS versus everyone at this point. I mean, it kind of almost looks like that to a somewhat degree, right? Because I don't know where like the remaining. Oh, I see. So it's like over here, right? Like here's the remaining FS territory with TDR that you can see that has been pushed out. Interesting. Okay. Oh gosh, that felt so good. So yeah, basically they're still going, even though FS has Dragon. I don't know if there is going to be any hard active fighting that is still going to be happening, but it's clear that at least at this point, right, there's still some defenses that are active, and I believe there was still fighting that was happening, unless there's been a ceasefire that's called. I just haven't heard of it happening yet. So again, if something like that has happened, let me know. All right, let's get to ST1-9. So as we look here into ST1-9, this is where we had, and this is probably a pretty simple one, and we have, this was where we had VVV, no war. As some people know, right, one of the big cruxes there with Crazy Bob playing with VVV, right, is that he's no longer playing the game, at least at the moment. And I believe that was like one of the big factors from what I heard after that basically happened and they found out. It was kind of a wind had left some of the sails for however long. And this is pretty much just kind of like an over season at that point. And you could see kind of Noir getting Dragon. You can see their group, which I believe was supposed to be Dawn, ROZ, FG, CFRA, First, and Any. We could see some of those people here. STFO, I thought, actually was on the other side of the group. And but you can see them here now inside. But there's FG. We got DPHX. Any is there too as well. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Right now, right? So the season is pretty much over. There's not really any more fighting, again, at least within Zone 3. Pretty much on the outskirts for this one. Then let's move over to ST1-10. So ST1-10, Zone 4 just opened here, right? So now we're kind of getting to a little bit more of the exciting stuff. You can see some action that's happening here too as well. Right, this is WRST, and we have GC. Now, I don't know if this is in final. It's not in Final Zone yet. So Final Zone has been open, I think, for a couple days here, but from what I understand, there's not really any fighting that's happening at the moment. You can see here that BNR has already captured. We don't have really anything else, I believe, that is going on. Let's double check, though, just so we can make sure. So you see, like, there was Sun, BNR. Excuse me, I'm dying over here, jeez. BRG's up here. I mean, yeah, I guess if they're building along, that doesn't typically indicate to me that they're getting, like, this is more of an indication of, like, maybe some defenses on the other side that they're probably pushing. Yeah, so, like, that's a little bit more clear. That's SVDC. Maybe here, this could indicate too as well. We just have to see if there's, okay, yeah, so this could be something too as well, where they're kind of defending on the outside. So we see, right, BNR, and then you see Sun. Sun was on, I believe, going up against SVDC, SVTP, but that was in Zone 2. I'm not too sure exactly what the final zone matchups are, but, I mean, based on this, this isn't really giving me, like, a hard indication that there's heavy fighting that's still happening, right, as we're kind of looking at some of the tipping or the tips of the battlefronts. So, yeah, that's pretty much where they're at. Let's go over here to ST111. ST111 pretty similar as well, right? Kind of unsure as far as if there's really any fighting that's happening in Final Zone, right? You see a little, there was something here, but I don't know if this is like fighting, or what is happening. So you see there's HP, we have DAL, but the thing is they're building side by side, so it doesn't really kind of give you that indication. You also have a third alliance here, ASC. There's this orange alliance that is building as well, but again, you're not seeing any defensive structures. So this is pretty much at this point, even though it's been open for a little bit, it's pretty much over, right? There's not really anything that we could say is happening. I highly doubt that we're seeing any like hard action there. Even if we go over here to like the green areas for who's this DSC, doesn't even look like there's really any building. Let's see here that's happening. Oh, I mean, they were building a road there, so that could be something. Okay. Oh, looks like we're expanding a road here. But I think DSC was with ASC, so given ASC is here, I don't think there's really any action. But again, would love to know kind of how the season's going. All right, let's work our way over here to ST1-12. Now, this is where it's actually going to start getting interesting. So in ST1-12 and for the next ones, their pass openings are going to be happening here at 8:15. So this is for Zone 3, that I should say. And I'm going to show you this too as well. Where's my Zone 3? I'll just go to like any pass. I think there's a pass over here that we'll look at. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me make sure I'm not super cray-cray. No, I know where passes are. I know where things open. I think I know where things open. Am I? Oh my God, am I? 10 bucks says I'm looking at the wrong thing, huh? Oh, it's right here. Is it here? Oh, I thought it was there because of the bridge. All right, guys, I'm having a blonde moment. Is it up here? Okay, good. Okay, so it is here. Okay, I was like, man, I gotta look for the ramps. A little bit different these days. Anyways, we zoom in. This is level 3 pass. We click on the level 3. Oh, wow, you guys can't see this. Interesting. Oh, I see. So I guess I have to be in the server for you to see it. Okay, well, I'll at least tell you. So the pass is going to be opening here for level 3 at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. But most likely by the time this video comes out, passes will already be open because it's probably going to be the morning of the 29th. And so by the time this video comes out, passes will probably have been open for about 12 to 13 hours at that point. I don't really know what the matchups are going to be because I did ask, but I haven't heard from anyone yet. I do know that this is like the BTR, HB, GPX, IL, Immortal, and then ED that we're fighting in Belagira. So there was a lot of action that was happening here. You could still see that there is action happening too as well. If you look at a lot of the fighting, I imagine this is probably going to continue. It might be difficult for them to make it over into Zone 3 specifically if they're having to access from... they will be able to do it from their Zone 1, but as far as them being able to access from the Zone 2, because I believe those are level 3 passes, level 4 I think it is. So what ends up happening is that you have I'll give you an example here, right? So you have, this should be a level 1 pass, and then you're going to have a level 2 pass. The level 2 passes are the ones that open up here. So like I think there should be one around here somewhere. So you see a level 2 pass. These ones are going to open. Oh, never mind. It does say. I was just looking at the wrong pass. Excuse me. But you can see here, right, 3 hours and 48 minutes. It comes out to about that. So those will open first, and then the level 3 passes that are in Zone 2 will open after that. So again, I'm expecting there to be some good action here too as well when Zone 3 opens. So we'll see how that plays out. We get over to ST1-13, and here in 13, passes are going to be opening at 9:51 p.m. Eastern Time here on the 28th, and I will show you that too as well. If we can look at it from, I don't know if it's from Forgotten Lands, I think. Now I'm kind of like 100% not sure. I think this should be level 2. Okay, good. But you see 5 hours and 24 minutes is the timer there. Now I do know some of the matchups for this one, so it's and this is more or less what it should be. I've heard it's going to be SHP versus SPR AK, OP versus EDS, and then SHPS and BEK versus AK. So there could be maybe a split that's happening there. That's kind of what's been unconfirmed with me, or has been told to me. That's unconfirmed at the moment. But yeah, then we work our way over to ST1-14. And let me grab a Sonoras here. All right, I'm feeling so much better. I'll tell you right now, man, I got hit with something nasty. Okay, then we get here to ST1-14, and passes are going to be opening here for Zone 3 at 8:47 p.m. Eastern Time on the 28th. If we go over, I guess I can just go over to really any pass at this point. Where's my pass? Bum, bum. And you'll see level 2, right? 4 hours and 19 minutes that we have. Now, I do know one of the matchups here for Hollandale, which is going to be this one, which is, from what I've been told, it's going to be ROG-CR, ROGR versus SXE and EXS, which I think is just backwards with the X in the middle. Yeah. So there's going to be some action there. Then we get to ST1-15. And ST1-15 is, I guess these ones are pretty kind of straightforward. This one is actually... next one is going to be Zone 3 that's going to open. That's about 3 chapters away right now on the Augerstone, as of being last updated today. So Zone 2 is open right now. From what I've unconfirmed heard, it's going to be FFA versus NS. I just don't know what region that's going to be in. I'll have to take a look at kind of where they are and where they reside. Probably could look real quick too as well. FFA, NS. So NS is here. FFA probably is here then, I would imagine. Maybe? Nope. So that means if they're here, then that means FFA has to be Darlin or the next one over, because it wouldn't make any sense if they weren't. Oh, I don't see an FFA. Okay, well, I was probably lied to. How dare these people? With that in mind, that pretty much covers that one. So then let's get to ST1. And I guess I can go a little faster on these ones right now because mainly these are just pass openings. So ST1-16, Zone 3 is going to open in 3 chapters for Zone 3. We have ST1-17, where Zone 2 will open in 1 chapter. We have Zone 2, we have ST1-18. That is going to be, Zone 2 is going to open at the end of the current Augerstone chapter. I just don't know what the matchups are, so I'm waiting to hear on that. And then we have, let me grab my little guy here. Come on. Okay, here we go. You can hang out with me for this video. Lord almighty. Okay, stop touching stuff. And then here in S, and then here we have, which is going to be our S2 Plus or SB1 in 19. Zone 4 is already open. I think we're just waiting for the Titans, and Titans Legacy has ended, but they haven't stated when the end of season migration is going to be happening here. If we work over to SB1-20, this one, Zone 4, again, has already been open. Titans Legacy has 6 days left, but they haven't popped anything as well. We get over to SB1-21. Again, they've already been in Zone 4 for a while. Titans Legacy ends in 13 days. Then we get over to SB1-22, and Titans Legacy ends in 13 days here too as well. Zone 4 has already been open. The next one actually is ST1 or SB1-23, right, that we can show this one off. So Zone 4 opened actually just yesterday. So it's been open for less than 24 hours, I think about 18 hours at least as of recording. And in Final Zone right now, for where they are, that we can see, hey sweetie, that we could see here in Karadeg, right? The matchup right now is TG versus 2 TG alliances versus AL, USEC, USEC, UN-K, and Home. And you can see that we have TG here, that's in green. We have, and then I think there's another TG here in red. And so this one in red is, I believe, fighting, and they're actually going up against AL. So you can see AL's kind of pushing right here. They've already, I think, removed maybe 1 flag so far from TG. And then we have, I think, some action going on over here. I don't know if they've built, because when I looked last time, they weren't really doing anything, at least on the southern side. On the eastern front, doesn't look like they've been pushing any passes either. So it's kind of a 2v4 in this situation, but some action if you do want to go and watch. And then if we go over and get to... She went out there. And then if you get to SB1-24, there actually is some decent action going on here. We recorded a really big fight a little bit earlier. And so you can see here that, again, Zone 3, I think they have open in Doolin. And there's a couple points here of interest, right? So the first one is actually going to be over here on the bridge. And at least from when I last saw, it looks like EE is building out right now. And I think it was OPW that was over here. And I think Meat was pushing. It looks like they potentially still are. It looks like, okay, it looks like they're trying to build an EE's fighting them a little bit. But this is one fight, and then there's another one that's happening over here that we can see on the RV side. And this is actually, I think, them being pushed by OPZ. You can see the fort that's being removed. It looks like they might have removed a tower or two as well. Looks like they're doing one right now in building. So again, you kind of have two big fronts here on Zone 3. But I think this is going to be some really good action for SP1-24. Then we get to SP125. And we have one chapter away for Zone 2, which is the Level 2 pass. And this is going to be ROA LTDT versus GE from what I've been told. I'm just not sure exactly which. We're going to have to look real quick. Oh, here it is. So we have LTDT, GE. So it's probably going to be here in Camelot, is what I would argue. Okay, now that everyone's back home, I'm probably okay here. I'm going to update this on my sheet. Let's do this. Camelot. Cool. So most likely that's where the Gassion's going to be there on SP1. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at Season 2. So we get to S274. Actually, might not even have to go in that deep when I think about it here. So 74... Actually, I don't even need to do that real quick. Let's just zoom out because I can tell you what's going on here. So for ST74, 75, and 76, they have already hit their end-of-season timelines. Reset for them going into their new season is actually going to be, and this is Kingdoms, I should state this right, 265 through 276, and they are going to be starting their new season actually at a reset tonight. So again, by the time this video comes out in the morning on the 29th, they would have already hit or went into their new season, which is going to be SB1, so S2 Plus, that they're going to be going into, and they'll probably already be there, have been in there for about 12 hours, 13, 14 hours or so by the time this releases. If we go over to ST77, this one, Zone 4, is already open. New season, I think they have one Augerstone chapter left. They got 6 days left on Titan's Legacy. We go over to 78, and I guess we can look if there is some potential action there, but 78, their Zone 4 has already been open. They have 13 days left on Titan's Legacy. Doesn't look like there's really anything happening there. And then we get over to ST79. So if we go to ST79, this one, they have, I think, 20 days left on Titan's Legacy. Zone 4, I think, should have, if they've made it there, never mind, it's actually already open. Yeah. So there we go. We'll just say opened. And again, they got 20 days left on their Titan's Legacy. This has pretty much already been decided at that point too as well. Ooh, I totally forgot to cover that as far as the other earlier S2 groups like I did with the T1 to tell you kind of like who was winning and not. I think we showed some of it off. My apologies there. Just, again, sometimes I get too in the zone right there when I'm going over the first ones. But you could see really for the most part here, it's SJT, SJW, for the alliances that are there. I think we have HLRU, but there doesn't appear to be any fighting that's happening left. I think these guys are getting pushed out over here on the side, or maybe they just don't really care too much if there's a little bit of action going on there. Let me see if they're extending. So not actively extending at the moment, but you can see it's pretty much clearly decided kind of on where and who's here. It looks like 2 alliances. Maybe blue is mainly going to be touching from what we can see on Dragon. So it will depend on who ends up getting that. Then if we go over to, let me see what else we have here. So we're going to go to S280, which I believe is what we had next. Yeah. So S280, 289 through 292. Their final zone actually just opened a chapter ago, but for some reason, and I don't quite understand when I go in here and I look, is that they're not really fighting at the moment. You can see there's 2 alliances that made it in, which is KOD and another KOD. So, I mean, it's 2 of the same alliances, right? So really no one else is here. No one has really even challenged, so to speak. So this is pretty much, you could just argue, kind of an over season. Then we end up getting to S281. And here we have Final Zone, which is 3 chapters away. This, I think, is going to be an absolute banger because from what I've been told, it's going to be, I think, a 2v5 with 3 HH, 93 SH going up against LB, 295B, GBL, GMA, and DR. So stay tuned for that because I think S281, which is 293 to 296, could actually have some pretty awesome action, but we're probably about a week away still from being able to see that. Then we get to S282, 297 through 300. Their next up is going to be Zone 3. at the level 4 pass, which is 3 chapters away. Still waiting to hear kind of what the matchup is going to be there. And then the next one that I think we're also going to be seeing some action on for S283 is for Zone 2. So there's Zone 2 at the level 2 pass is 1 chapter away as of yesterday. So we probably have another day or two before we end up seeing some action there, right? Which could be for them over here in Azanor. I think it's Azanor. What else do we have here? Camelid, for the Zone 2s here. Sorry, Camelid, Baduria, Ravona, and Azanor. And then you have the Zone 3s, Duelan, Morbrez, and Zone 4 and Karadeg. But Zone 2 is up next for them. Then we end up getting to S284, which they're 4 chapters away from Zone 2, and then S285 is 4 chapters away from Zone 2 as well. So yeah, that pretty much I think covers all of the KvK updates. I'm going to try to remember the best that I can next time we do this, where I'll go into each of the S2 or each of the S2 Season 2 KvKs and any of the other ones that are already kind of in the later stages that I missed doing that because I just forgot. So that way I can at least show you kind of who's winning, what alliances are in Final Zone, which ones are not in there, if someone's captured Dragon or not. And of course, as always, right, I like to let you guys know what those pass openings are going to be looking like, what the matchups are that are coming up to as well, who's going to be fighting who. And if there's anything else that you'd like, I think we did an okay job this time of condensing it. I like to try and keep these to about somewhere like 20 to 30 minutes, give or take. It's just depending on the amount of KvKs, right? We'll have to run through it pretty quick. And I like to try and give you the kind of the quick facts, if you will, or the TLDR/highlights. But if there's anything else you'd like for me to include in these updates, even if it's maybe me showing you the sheet, as well at certain points. Again, I'm trying to figure out somewhat of the best way because I like showing the visuals of giving you something in-game, but at the same time, I also can understand that kind of having a spreadsheet top-down of you just kind of looking at each of the kingdoms and being able to visually see what's coming up could also be an easy way where I could probably run through all of this in 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah, I guess if anything, just let me know what you guys think. If there's something you prefer, or if there's something you think I can add onto this too as well. I think one of the things eventually, if I actually am able to pay for some post-production eventually at some point, I'd love where I go into the kingdom and I can just kind of like, appear the snapshot of the information so it can appear somewhere. Let me point my finger correctly here. Somewhere like over here, but just like farther to the right, so to speak. Like maybe I don't even know how to do that. I could just use the mouse. But like somewhere here where it would like appear with the matchup bar, some stats and data that I can just show you the visuals. But yeah, anyways, I feel like I'm rambling now at this point. As always, I hope you guys enjoy these KvK updates. I love giving them to you, even if I'm going to try and do these on a weekly basis because, for example, the last video we did on a KvK updates, people really enjoyed it. And so I hope that that can continue and we can just work on refining and fine-tuning, right, the best that we can. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Feel free to let me know any updated information that I can do on my sheet, so that way we can just be more accurate the next time. And for any matchups that we did not know of, if you know, please feel free to let me know, right? Whether that's Discord, messaging me on my main account in-game, or leaving a comment on the video. Okay, that's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later.